Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to the place to be each and every Sunday night. Lights, well, that's what we're here for anyway. We're here at Suzuka for round 8, the famous Japanese circuit, the full GP layout this week. I'm your host, Alex McKellar, and joining me once again in the booth is Mr. Tim Gorkrotcher. Tim, massive field here tonight in terms of who's turned out, and a great night of racing ahead of us.
Yeah, g'day Alex. Thanks for having me back again. Second week in the box and really enjoyed last week. Bathurst, of course. And yeah, Suzuka this week. I got to say, I think it's probably the most challenging track on the circuit for the season we're in at the moment. Without a doubt, the first 4 or 5 laps, as we know, are challenging, but it's so much different here at Suzuka. It is extremely difficult. So tonight's going to be action-packed, jam-packed, full of excitement, full of close racing, and mate, I'm keen to see it unfold.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I tell you what, there's been some challenging races around here this week. I've had a good time here, enjoyed my time for the first time ever. Actually, I used to find this track for some inexplicable reason remarkably challenging, but it came to me a bit this week, and I've enjoyed my time as a result. Great to see a great number of drivers out here. We've got 16 in the field with a strength of field of some 4,320 odd, which puts us, well, miles in front of everyone else. Nearly, it's about 900 clear of everything other than a Sunday night race. The one leading into this one, of course, usually pretty popular, but yeah, look, big night of racing ahead with some quality drivers. Now, why don't we check out, while we wait, the scores as the guys go around in quali. So far this season, we are at round 8 tonight. After 7 rounds, we've got Smurf and Sammy J. Toykala on top of the pops there, leading the way from Håkon Grebstad and team of Ascalampi. These Scandinavian drivers really looking to dominate this season. Sasha Gourlay in 4th with Anthony Catt, UK and I in 5th. Ben Snell, still the leading ANZ driver in P6. And then we see down in P9, newcomer to the series, Greg Barber, who is also the second placed ANZ driver, which is hoping to see a bit more of him, of course. But he has snuck in. If I grab a picture of him now, Tim, he snuck into the top split. Car number 15. He needed 3,300 IR to get in tonight. So again, top-notch field lined up for SNL.
Yeah, and it looks like he made it in by around 20 IR. So good on Greg, and he had a great showing last week too in Bathurst, and unlucky to not battle for the win. But good to have him part of what is comfortably the best race of the week, the highest quality drivers, and even though the 24-hour Nordschleife event's on running as we speak, I got to say I would have thought plenty of the guys who race here would have a gig at a drive like that too, an event like that. But, they've all shown up, and I got to say, Alex, I think this is for the new SNL series that you've put together. I think this is the strongest soft we've had as well. So a fantastic result.
Yeah, pretty close too, I would think. I'd have to go back and check the records, but certainly great to see a familiar face out there as well. Fame Antoniadis, the only Thrustmaster Movano Racing team member out here tonight. Enzo Cantor having the day off to go spend some time with family. Spoke to Enzo during the week. Disappointed not to be here, but of course family comes first. Sebastian Schultz also on track here as they rounding out the first of their 2 quali laps. Simon Edwards, the number 1 plated car here from UK and I. Great to see Tim Hendrickson from Team Torpedo, the Blue and Orange Army. He's car plate number 2 here tonight. Haven't seen him this season, of course, but great to see him back out there as well, Tim.
Yeah, it is. It's I mean, we know how fast Tim is. He's only too happy to tell you how quick he is. But no, he's a very good driver, and it is terrific to have him show up and hopefully mingle with the faster guys out there, as he put down a really, really respectable first lap, Alex, a 2:25.4. As the majority of the field begin their second lap. Of course, only 2 laps in qualifying. On the iRacing service, you've got 8 minutes to complete them, including your out lap. And of course, Suzuka's known for those sneaky off tracks. It's just so easy to rack up 1 or 2, and a wheel width off the track, and your qualifying laps are wiped out. So it's going to take a pretty good effort to put together a couple of nice laps, clean laps, fast laps, Without getting sideways, of course, it is challenging on the first 2 laps, and not getting an off track while you're out there.
Yeah, 100% correct on that one. I tell you what, the getting a bit loose here in the opening lap or so, your out lap or your first time lap can really be detrimental. The tyres really cook, and it costs you, anything between 1 and 2 seconds on your second lap, which is really where you want to be laying down the good rubber, of course. So a couple of folks haven't set times that we can see in their first lap, so it'll be interesting to see who can rise to the challenge that Hendrickson has laid down. Of course, provisionally on pole by some 4/10. Great time there. Vascalampi and Toikala leading the Finnish challenge behind the Dutchman here, just the 4 and 5/10 behind. So fascinating to see how these closing stages round out as we see Toikala now coming up the back straight, looking to head through 130R. Let's see what he can do. Where's my button? There it is. I'll get rid of that one as well. We'll see how he goes. So we expect Toikala here to certainly comfortably beat Hendrickson's first lap time. It'll be in the realm of 2:24 and a half potentially, depending on how he's gone as he comes through the final chicane now, rounding, keeping a very tight line here, hugging the white line on the inside, maximise or shorten the distance that he goes. 24.395, fantastic effort, dropping him to the top of the pops. Where's Hendrickson as he crossed the line? Yes, he has, some 3/10 behind by the looks. Schultz got his second lap in for P3 as the others start crossing the line. Surprisingly, Vascalampi only managing 6 there by the looks, Tim.
Yeah, surprising for Vascalampi is Fahim Antoignatas. Gets top spot, 10 seconds remaining. I doubt that anyone is going to surpass the time of 2:24.2. A very nice time. 1/10 exactly in front of Sami Toikala. But surprisingly, Alex, a number of drivers, 5 in fact, not able to register a time for qualifying.
Yeah, tough job out there. Let's go through our grid tonight. Fantastic time from the returning Fahim Antoniadis for Thrustmaster Mivano. 24.2, amazing time in quali. Sammy J, Toikala there, just the single tenth behind in P2. Hendrickson for Team Torpedo with full 4/10 off the lead there tonight in P3. P4, Sebastian Schultz returning for another crack at the Sunday Night Lights. P5, Toshimasa Hanada, local boy here, the Japanese boy, looking to come the goods tonight in P5, his starting position. Team Vascalampi starting in P6 tonight, not the qualification he would have liked. Anthony Catt from UK&I in P7. Simon Edwards also from UK&I in P8. Russell Clark, first of the ANZ drivers representing Team Milo in P9. Sasha Gourlay, last week's winner in P10. Paco Cano from Iberia in 11th. P12 starting tonight. Cristobal Otero Roman from Cross Simart Competition. Håkon Grebstad, who's been having a great season, not so good in quali tonight. P13 representing Team Ovaltine. Ben Snell, after killing it last race, the one leading into this for Team Milo, all the way down in 14th to start proceedings here tonight. 15th, Joachim Bruckner and Greg Barber, who we were talking about before, 16th, unable to set a time. The strength of field, as we mentioned, 43.21 with a track temp of 42 degrees. Fantastic start ahead of us now as we wait for the green light to begin the race. Looks like the guys, who are we waiting on now? Just Mr. Snell, who's probably given me a chance.
Starts.
Thank you, Sodi. The race does, in fact, start. Thank you, Mr. Snell, for giving me the time to go through the grid as I often struggle. Now, the guys gridding, they've got about 5 seconds left before the revs start to rise here. Might hop on. There we go. That's probably our best view for now. As the revs do indeed start to rise, the red lights rev, green lights go, and we are away for the first of 11 laps, Tim, tonight as the race down to turn 1 begins.
It does indeed, and plenty of jostling, surprisingly. I mean, these cars are so risky. On the first lap, I'm surprised to see, Sami Toikala right up the inside of Fahim Antoignatas. That is very, very hard racing. Gets the move done. That is surprising. Fahim's going to have to yield here. There's no way he's going around the outside. In fact, yeah, it's just not going to happen. Sami's going to get some nice drive out of the corner. Fahim runs very wide. up onto the curb. Tim Hendrickson looking to make a go at this as well. Got the
No, in the
Warhawk.
background, we've lost one.
We have Alex.
Sorry, Edwards has gone around it through the S's there. We've lost him, and it looks like we might have also lost a couple others that have gone with him in Roman and Bruckner, Tim. Sorry, mate, back to you.
No dramas. I think Ben Snell caused that one, incidentally. So unfortunate for Ben, carrying a bit of damage, but also unfortunate for Joachim and a couple of the other guys.
Yeah, back up the front now. We've got Hendrickson tucked in behind Toy Carla now on the approach to the hairpin for the first time. Hendrickson showing the nose, but no doubt, deep under brakes. There's a couple there. Anton Yardis and it was Schultz tucked in behind him, very, very deep under brakes. One thing I've noticed this season, Tim, is that cars line astern obviously take more time to stop than someone's got a clear run at it, and you can make a lot of ground up under brakes in clean air on it when you're chasing down a pack.
Yeah, you can. And interestingly, I mean, I find personally I try not to go too late under brakes just for a bit of safety, but there's certainly some big gonads out on track these days. And
there's one out. Anton Yardis, he's gone off at 130 hours. Anyone going with him? Oh, that's a massive lose there through 130R on the opening lap for our pole sitter, Anton Yardis, as he now tries to crab back to the pits. Let's go take another look at that, folks, and see what happened here. Have we caught it back? No, that's not far enough. Let's go back again here. Pulling a bit tighter on Anton Yardis there as he's come down through Spoon. We were talking about it prior to the race, weren't we, Mr. Gorkrotch? If you run out wide here, onto the, no, it wasn't even. We were talking about the ripple strip on the in between the apexes at Spoon now, but it's actually on the exit here. It looks like he runs a bit wide, and then the car just won't turn for him, and he gets caught up on the exit ripple strips and then spat out into the wall on the outside, sprays back across the track, catches the rear of Toy Carla, and then the 13 car of Anthony Catt also cops a bit of a rub, but all, with the exception of Anton Yardis, look like they might have got away with it there, Tim.
Yeah, really interesting to see that. And of course, we talk about the risks on lap one. Plough understeer, snap oversteer, it all happens in Skip Barber's at Suzuka. But unfortunate for him, I'm sure he was pretty confident after setting such a good quali lap. But it all came unstuck on lap one as Tim Hendrickson is in control of the field. There is a group of four up front, Hendrickson, Tuakala Skoltz and Vasca Lampi with all sorts of damage though. Not sure where he picked that up, but that is certainly going to compromise his race, and I don't expect him to hang on to that lead pack for too long. With a pack of six, Grebstad, Gorley, Cat, Hanada, Clark and Barber, the trailing group from 5th to 10th, Alex.
Barber already up 6 positions from where he started in the final slot on the grid tonight. Doesn't look to be carrying any damage either. He's got Clark and Hanada in front of him. All those guys have got some pace to burn around here and hopefully looking to progress up the field. Great to see Russell Clark with a guaranteed spot. Just sneaking in at car 14 here tonight, but certainly lead Team Milo driver here tonight. Hanada just sitting in front of him in P8, as you said, tucked in behind Anthony Catt, both of whom seem to have got away okay from that incident with Anton Yardis, as we see Sasha Gourlay putting all sorts of pressure on Grebstad. We're on lap 2 now. The tyres have not yet come in, but they're going to go too wide through 130R, are they? No, Grebstad deciding discretion, certainly the better part of valour in the early stages of this one, Tim.
Yeah, Gourlay runs very wide though, as does the car behind him, Anthony Catt. Surprisingly though, Alex, Anthony was the one on the left-hand side of the track running up the hill after Spoon Curve that collected for him, although not picking up any damage whatsoever. So particularly fortunate for Anthony. I thought his race was over, but I think the internet saved him quite fortunately. But yeah, Sasha and Anthony that time around living dangerously as they ran very wide through the left-hand sweeper that is turn 15, Alex.
Absolutely. It is possible, of course. You want to run a bit wide. You'll take the incident point and maybe a point or two off your licence, but The alternative is the ripple strip there, and the AstroTurf just outside are notorious for losing the rear of the car and spinning across the track in front of traffic. So sometimes, again, taking the 1X on the outside of the curbing there, well wide of it, maintain a bit more speed and certainly a bit more traction as the guys coming through the S's now. On the mid stages of lap 3, on the exit of the very key corner in turn 7 on the run up to the Degners. Now, very challenging, the Degners here. Can catch a lot of curb there through the first Degner and then down through turn 9 now the second Degner. Grab the exit curb as much as you can there with avoiding incident point. Then under the bridge. Of course, under the bridge here, this is one of only 3 tracks on the iRacing service where you essentially do a figure 8 and cross over the track at some stage. The track loops over itself. Of course, here, the other one at Motegi. And anyone in the audience like to guess the third one? It's a local one, of course. Full point, bonus points to those in the audience as we watch the guys come around now. Toykala having the front running with Henderson tucked right in behind as once again they go through very challenging. Oh, Toykala is on the curbing on the outside of Spoon, showing that it can be done. The tyres perhaps coming up to pressure and temperature now on the tail end of lap 3, Tim.
Yeah, living particularly dangerously, and not a move I like to make personally. And we were watching the prior race, and the cars that ran over the ripple strip on the right hand side of turn 14 at Spoon Curve really risked dropping that wheel off, and it's quite a bit lower and just over the top of the ripple strip, and of course inducing a bit of spin. You have to fourth pedal it, cost yourself all sorts of time, but Sammy fortunate to not have that issue. I've got to say, Alex, he looks like the only one in this front pack that hasn't picked up any damage. A bit of wing damage on the front for Hendrickson, a bit of wing damage on the front for Sebastian Skoltz, and Timu, of course, looking all sorts of bent up, but still able to maintain quite good pace. Surprisingly, that time round a 2:24 dead, which is it's fast enough to keep him up with the leaders, Tim Hendrickson and Sammy Toykala. So good on Timu, but Alex, I don't know if you caught it, but I have no idea where he got the damage from.
No, missed it early on. It could have been through the S's the first lap round, but no, we might catch up with him during the week to see what happened. Full marks to one of our viewers at home who picked Oran Park as the other track where we do a figure 8 style turnover on itself through the duration of a lap. Of course, Oran Park doesn't exist in the real world anymore, just on iRacing and other sim games, but it was a fun track there in the outskirts of Sydney, but gone for time and memorial now as we see almost a pack of 6 going to P6, Gourlay and Grebstad in 5th and 6th respectively now, 8/10 behind this front pack of 4 with Hendrickson and Toykala almost gapping the damaged Vascalampi and Schultz as they come down to the hairpin for the mid stages of lap 4 of 11 here tonight. Toykala tucked right in behind. Vascalampi, although he does have damage, he has put some very tidy times around here in time trials this week, leading the time trial standings, if I'm not mistaken, and certainly knows how to run a lap around here. So despite the damage, still keeping in touch and looking to hang on to the back of Toykala, who in turn is battling away with Hendrickson for the lead, Tim.
Yeah, Tim is certainly not short of time on track in testing at Suzuka. I'm not sure what the why everyone is spending so much time doing time trials lately. Perhaps to knock Greg Sates off that podium. But yeah, Tim has shown particularly good pace, and I watched him that time round through the hairpin at turn 11, and despite probably being down a little bit on straight line speed, he had fantastic corner entry and just so strong under brakes, and he closed in I'd say in the range of 0.25, 0.3 of a second, really comfortably, and he's done a great job up the hill and through the Casino Triangle at 16, 17 and 18 to bridge the gap to Sammy T, and at this stage, Alex, I think he's about 2/10 behind.
Yeah, absolutely is. We're on board with Toykala now as he just lifts on the entry into turn 1 now. Nice tight line. Drops an early gear, actually. Drops a very early gear down into third there. The rear of the car almost stepping out as they hit the exit curbing now on the end of turn 2. Coming through this unique S snake-like section of turns 3 through 7 now. Left, right she goes, just like the soldiers all in a line. Toicala really, oh, he's probably a bit deep in there. Gets the late drive, but the good drive through turn 7 now. Very critical corner as he got a decent straight here on the approach to the Degners as the guys really push the limits here. Degner, of course, really challenging one here. He can grab quite a bit of curb in this build and then down into the second. Degner's tight right-hander as it is. The guys, well, I've got to say, Toicala a bit conservative there, certainly more than Hendrickson was, but certainly not losing anything as they come down into a legit passing opportunity if you want to take it down into the hairpin, though Toicala certainly happy just to tuck in behind Hendrickson at this stage of the race, Tim.
Yeah, he does look pretty comfortable, and I agree that he is being particularly conservative, but I think Sammy knows that as long as he's within draft range, 6, 7, 8 tenths, and he's really comfortable at the moment. He's between 3 and 4 tenths behind Hendrickson. But while he's within that range, no need to do anything silly, no need to take too many risks. And, every chance he's going to get a good run through this left-hander at Spoon Curve and pass Hendrickson up the hill.
Yeah, absolutely. Gourlay and Grebstad, we can just see them in the background of this leading pack. They're now about full 1.2 seconds off the back. So for a moment there, they were within draft range. I don't know if they got battling like they are about to again now. Grebstad cutting across. No doubt the lifting Gourlay to go through 130R there. Running very wide was Grebstad. Coming back on, they're going to go side by side into the final chicane. I tell you what, that's some funny way to work together, boys, but they get it done. Big lot of curb through the final chicane there, and nose to tail they go. Right on board of Gourlay now as he tucks up beside Grebstad now as they come in, and Grebstad now drops in behind by the looks and tucks in behind to try and get this gap bridged up to the front runners there, Tim.
Yeah, interestingly, Alex, not working together, and through the final parts of lap 5 really cost them. I'm going to say that last sector looked like somewhere in the 5 to 6 tenth vicinity. It was a bit of a disaster for those two as Hawkon ran all the way off track, and I don't think that he thought Sasha was going to be there. So in fact, I thought they were going to make contact, so luckily they didn't, but just cost himself a whole stack of time. And of course, last time round, the leading pack are well and truly in the 2:23.5 region. Sasha a 2:24 dead, so cost himself a good bit of time. He and Hawkon, they've got to work together, got to be smart to latch onto the back of Seb Scholz, who's putting in really good, clean, consistent times. While he's been in 4th the past handful of laps, he's looking pretty comfortable there. Certainly the leading 3 aren't getting away by any stretch, Alex.
No, absolutely right. You were spot on the money too. It cost them about half a second, that final sector there for the two guys in 5th and 6th in Gourlay and Grebstad. So not a good story for them. As we go down the rest of the field, we've got Cat there sitting in P7. He's running a lonely race, a couple of seconds ahead of Greg Barber, who's up to P8, up 8 positions. Hanada then tucked in behind him. He's just within the draft range, about 9 tenths as he goes through Spoon now on the mid stages of lap 6. Clark, Team Milo's own, the leading, well, no, actually second to Greg Barber, the ANZ driver, in P10. Simon Edwards recovering from his early spin in P11. Roman, similarly, doesn't look to have had any damage and doesn't have and has not pitted. He's continuing P12. Jochen Bruckner similarly continue on without having pitted. 3 seconds behind Roman. Paco Cano looking to make inroads in there to Bruckner down in P14. Anton Yardis all the way down in 15, the only one who's pitted. And of course, Snell, our lone retirement. As we jump back up the front, looks like Hendrickson's going to make a move up the inside on the approach to turn 1. Vascalampi and Toicala settling, or happy to settle, to tuck in behind as they go through the first couple of corners, Tim.
Yeah, and interesting, Alex, last time around, Hendrickson at 2:23.8, really good time. But while the group of Grebstad and Gourlay managed quicker times than the leader, they actually lost time to the to gain on draft range. So a lot of work to do for those two. And at this stage, Alex, we're lap 7 of 11. I don't really see this coming together for them, to be completely truthful. The leading pack of 4 cars have particularly good pace, and I don't think Grebstad and Gourlay are working together well enough to bridge it.
No, I've got to tell you, the question for me is going to be, can the damaged Bascalampi and the relatively poised to strike Sebastian Schultz have an impact on these front two? Look to be doing it very comfortably. As again, we see Toy Carla get closed up upon in the braking zone by Vascalampi. Now, Toy Carla and Hendrickson seem to be doing pretty comfortably out front at the moment. The other two sitting in the draft. But the question is, are they sitting in the draft or are they hanging on in the draft? Only time will tell, as we got about just under 4.5 laps to go, as once again we come through the lovely left-hand sweeping spoon double apexing. Well, it's 2 corners really. It's 13 and 14, but it's affectionately known as spoon curve as they run up this long straight. Of course, into 130R, the fastest corner on the track. You can take this flat in 5th as Toikala pokes the nose up the inside now into 130R. I imagine that Hendrickson will lift and let him tuck back in. Nose to tail they go once again through the flat out in 5th. 130R on the approach into the final chicane, Tim.
Yeah, and it's an interesting left-hander, Alex, particularly if you've made the pass up the hill using draft, because there's only, I mean, if your run is good and clean and there's only just enough time to get back over to the right-hand side of the track before you aim for the apex on the left-hand side. And that run is certainly compromised for the leading car, and then you come under pressure from the guy in P2 in the braking zone that is Casino Triangle at 16, 17 and 18. So I've got to say we've got a pretty exciting last few laps coming up as the lead bunch jostle for position.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys up front, they're leapfrogging sensibly. I've got to tell you, I'm not sure how much time is gained in that leapfrogging process. I'm just not sure that the compromised lines will get you better time or not. I mean, they're doing 23.2s out there, the pair of them last in Hendrickson and Toikala last lap. 23.4 and a 23.2 for the other two in this lead pack of 4. So, I mean, that's great times around here for sure. I just wonder if they go quicker solo, but certainly wouldn't get the benefit of the draft, no doubt. I know that Vascalampi in an undamaged car is good for a 23.2 and a time trial, but whether or not that damage is, well, it's obviously going to be having an impact, but whether or not it's completely ruined his shot at the title, time will tell, Tim.
Yeah, it will, but he's hanging on just so comfortably, I think, at the moment. And I got to say, Alex, I think the damage appears worse on our screens than it does on his vehicle for Timu. He should have lost quite a bit more pace, and I got to say, it's in my opinion, and it's not an expert opinion, but I've been around the circuits for a while now. He should be quite a bit slower than what he is. So he's doing great, and good on him. He's just so strong under brakes and manages to get the car turned in consistently. And he keeps the racing exciting, that's for sure. And as a driver on track with Timu following, I can tell you he can give you an almighty fright because he is so good under brakes, particularly into that the turn 11 hairpin. He is amazing. So it was interestingly in the background, I don't think Gourlay wanted to let Hawk on by as he moved over to the left and perhaps blocked him somewhat. Bit of a surprising move, but perhaps they're listening to the stream as they drive, Alex, and taking on board your comments that leapfrogging isn't quite as successful around here as it is at other circuits.
Yeah, well, certainly there's still that 1.8 second margin off, and they're well and truly out of the draft now as the Ovaltine driver. Well, where does he go? Because Gourlay is defending the inside line and perhaps either thinking to himself, you know, I've got the pace here to do it on my own, or alternatively resigning himself to battling just for the remaining spot in the top 5 as the rear of the car really lets go there almost for Gourlay, and it compromised his exit. Perhaps spending too much time looking in the mirrors there, Tim.
Yeah, difficult to know why that would happen, because this time, I mean, at this stage of the race, the guys are well and truly up to temp. You're feeling, you've got real confidence back in the car. Unlike early in the, by lap 5, I think most of that comes, and you can find yourself, particularly through the first sort of 6, 7 corners, the S curves, you find that real confidence coming back. So odd to get a little bit of sideways activity, and perhaps it suggests an earlier than normal change back to, or from third to second at turn 2. But those guys certainly not making the inroads that they would like. So we're on lap 9, only 2.5 to go. 11 laps here, of course, and they've got a lot of work to do, and I just don't see it happening at this point in time, Alex.
No, I agree. They're not working together enough, and perhaps don't have the pace necessarily combined when you to compete with Hendrickson and Toikala and Vascalampi up front here with Schultz now. Again, it's hard to say whether he's hanging on or he's just biding his time, because a little under 2.5 laps to go as they go through Spoon again on the closing stages of lap 9 now. We still have this lead pack of 4, and they're out to 1.9 seconds. So they got about 0.2 of a second through that last time round, as this front pack of 4 somewhat sedately heads to 130R, Tim.
Interestingly, Alex, Sammy not choosing to leapfrog Tim Hendrickson, and I think he felt a bit of pressure from Vascalampi behind him. Sammy moving just to the left ever so slightly to perhaps put that thought in Timu's mind that I'm ready to block if you're ready to move. So surprising there. Perhaps Sammy's run out of Spoon not quite as good as he had hoped. Tim Hendrickson all the way over to the left-hand side of the track. Sammy Toikala coming under particular pressure from Vascalampi, who's made the move, made it stick. Sammy's a smart racer, but I'm surprised he's let that one go. I think Timu rates himself here, obviously, by the look of things. He had a great run out of the Casino Triangle at 18 and across the start-finish line to get the move done. And have a crack at Tim Hendrickson, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. Vascalampi's decided now's the time to go with the 2 laps remaining. And, of course, we do have someone in the pits. We've lost Joachim Bruckner, who is quietly biding his time in the pits. Didn't pick up what happened to Joachim, but he has not had a happy race. But the guys now running up out of turn 7 now on their run down to the first of the 2 Degners there at turn 8. Lovely lines through there, running, using every bit of the track. Although perhaps, I'll tell you what, Hendrickson got a great run through there, and Toikala looking up the inside as Vascalampi runs wide out of turn 9 there, the second of the 2 Degners. And is that enough, Tim, for Hendrickson to get away?
Yeah, it's a super question, Alex, and I don't think it is, as we've spoken about all race long and every race for the past couple of seasons, how strong Timu is under brakes as he pulled that gap from 8/10 straight down to 6/10. He's well and truly inside draft range, and unless he makes a fatal error coming through the left-handers that make up turn 13 and 14 at Spoon Curve, I think he's going to do pretty well up the hill on low fuel to and a bit of draft, of course, to push right up under Hendrickson's rear wing again. But I understand the need for Timu to have made the move on Sammy, who's looking pretty racy in draft at the moment, but it is really challenging to pass the car in second from third while the car in second has draft as well. So Timu looking to plan his last couple of laps well and truly in advance, as we are in lap 10, final lap coming up as they enter 16, 17 and 18 at the Casino Triangle, and it's anyone's race, Alex. It's up for grabs.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw Toikala there lifting as he went through 130R and really resigning himself there just to sit in behind as we head and cross the line now for the final time without a checkered flag as they approach down. Toikala showing the nose to Vascalampi but not making the move as Hendrickson taking the very wide entry, missing the apex on turn 2 there, and really now you've got Vascalampi putting all sorts of pressure over the leading orange and blue driver there. Vascalampi taking some really tight lines there through the corners in the S-Snake section now. Really showing some unique lines there when compared, tighter lines I should say, when compared to Hendrickson sitting in front of him. So these guys now work their way through turn 7 on the approach uphill now before it flattens out in the Degners, Tim.
Yeah, and interestingly, you're right. I think without there being too much that can change in terms of setup, that the different lines and the way to get the speed out of the cars is really down to the driver and that handiwork with the wheel and the pedals. But Timu running pretty wide, picked up an off-track there. Sammy Toikala looking pretty comfortable, just assessing his options in P3 as we're halfway through the final lap, Alex, and very close up under brakes. Timmy right up under the rear wing of Hendrickson, and likewise Toikala for Lampi. I think out of this one, though, is P4, Sebastian Scholz. He's been sitting back there. Not too much happening, just observing, but I don't think he's got the pace, Alex, to make it all the way forward to get the big W against his name at Suzuka this week.
No, nose to tail they go through. Spoon now. Toikala tucked right up behind these leading two cars of Hendrickson and Lampi. What have we got going to happen here? These guys, ducks and drakes up the back straight. I'll tell you what, Hendrickson did not like the move there. He covered it off slightly. These guys, Toikala forced to lift on the way down to 130R. Will he maintain the drive? Takes the title line now through as we see Hendrickson going all the way. Lampi as well, going side by side, cutting across the grass now. Hendrickson got the defensive line. Toikala, a little bit of contact there, loses the rear wing entirely now. Lampi. Now Toikala going around the outside, but it's a long way around the outside through the final corner as we see Hendrickson taking out his return to Sunday, or his inaugural Sunday night lights race, as we see in the background someone deciding to pull up stumps very quickly. Fascinating finish. In fact, we might even go back and grab another look at that finish there through the final series of corners there, as we saw the two guys in front, in Lampi and Hendrickson, both running wide there, and then coming across the grass to rejoin both of them very, very tightly. Hendrickson on the defensive line, little bit of netcode contact as he cut across the nose of Lampi there, potentially was netcode, and then Toikala almost, look at the drive he gets out of that final corner there, or the final part of the Casio triangle, and then you've got Lampi though, all the track on the inside to work with. It's surprising how much you can actually gain there by taking the title line and covering less track distance, Tim, and it was Lampi who did it, driving something more akin to a Formula Ford in the end than it was a Skip Barber car there, Tim.
Yeah, and interestingly, I'm really pleased. Obviously, I think Sammy made a slight mistake under brakes, and perhaps a little upset that Tim Hendrickson and Timmy Lampi chose to use so much of the track, and the grass and the dirt and whatever else they pulled back onto the track. But I think Sammy will be disappointed that he made contact with Timu, and part of he felt it the best thing to do was to. I think he could have easily got the run and passed Timu, but he felt it best to redress and allowed Timu to get second place. Of course, Timu deserved that. He raced beautifully, damage and all, very, very fast here. But let's not take anything away from Tim Hendrickson. He been a bit critical of the way the Skippy has handled the past few weeks, but tonight he looked well and truly in touch with that car, and as critical as he may be, he got the big win. He got a whole swag of points. He can sleep well tonight, mate, because he did a fantastic job.
Yeah, absolutely. As we have a couple of the Iberians in the field in Kano and Roman just saluting each other, shall we say, in the cool-down phases of the race. But let's check out the race results as they ended up here tonight. Tim Hendrickson, very successful return, or race here at least, in Sunday Night Lights for Team Torpedo. P2, the first of the Flying Fins in Team of Lampi, some 7/10 behind after that eventful final chicane. Sammy J. Toikala having been right in the mix there in P1 and 2 throughout the race, having to settle for the third step on the podium. Sebastian Scholz, as we suspected, ended up having to do more hanging on than anything else, but very great result for him tonight in P4. Car number 9 finishing in P5 tonight. Håkon Grebstad representing Team Ovaltine, winning that race-long battle with P6, Sasha Gourlay, who, of course, took out last week's race. P7, the first of the ANZ drivers in Greg Barber. Toshimasa Hanada well, the lone soldier representing Japan tonight at his local event, finishing in P8, Simon Edwards. An unhappy night here at Sunday Night Lights once again for Simon, representing UK and I, obviously, along with his compatriot in Anthony Catt in P10. Cristobal Otero Roman for a cross simart competition in P11, along with his compatriot in P12, Paco Cano. Moving on to the next page of the results, Russell Clark, who we lost sight of at some stage during the race, who was well and truly in the top 10, finishing all the way down in P13 for Team Milo here tonight. Fahim Antoniadis, the lone thrustmaster Mivano driver. We saw his incident coming out of Spoon on lap 1. Obviously devastating for his race. Joachim Bruckner in P15, and Ben Snell for Team Milo, our lone retirement. Oh, Joachim actually did retire late in the race as well. Strength of field, as we said, strongest in the week by a country mile at 43.21, and the fastest lap tonight, showing that he could have been well and truly amongst it. In fact, the only guy in the 22s, no doubt with a little bit of draft, but still a 22.7 from Fahim Antoniadis. An amazing time there, Tim.
Interestingly, I was keeping my eye on those lap times, and that wasn't drafted. He had particularly good pace, and Alex, I'm sure he'll be kicking himself that he made that mistake. But that's what it is. I mean, he hasn't been racing as much as usual, but perhaps a little bit out of touch with some of the current characteristics of the Skip Barber. But I'm sure he'll be back in the coming weeks to make amends for what was a less than desirable result.
I'll tell you what, I'm sure the viewers at home could see my eyebrows raising from here when you told me that was undrafted. Holy cow, that's very, very much low-level flying around here in a Skippy. So great drive there from Fahim, even if the results didn't quite go his way. We've got a few in the booth here, the green room waiting to come up. We'll go in finishing order. I've just moved the first one up. Hopefully he's ceased his conversation. Mr. Hendrickson, welcome back to Sunday Night Lights. Was this your first event? I can't quite recall, but certainly a great start either way.
Yeah, well, I had to prove my point that I still had it, right? Everyone been calling me old and washed up on all that stuff. I mean, got to prove my point.
Yeah, well, that's it, mate. But look, you certainly did that. It looked like a good run, a good race up front, at least, I should say, with yourself and the Finnish lads. Got pretty hectic there at times, mate, particularly there at the end. How did it unfold for you?
Well, the whole race has been, pretty quiet. Sammy and Timu have been sat back for 3/4 of the race. Yeah, in the last lap, I just did my thing, really. I knew Timu wouldn't have a great run because he was really close up my rear wing at Spoon. So I just made it too wide, and I was really lucky, if I'm honest, that Sammy didn't make it 3 wide because I wouldn't have gone out alive probably. But yeah, I had to take the sneaky 1X at 130R. But I'm pretty sure Timu wanted to take it too, so I don't feel too bad about it.
No, I think with the pace you guys were carrying through there in 2x2, or the order of the day potentially as well, it's quite challenging to get through there, even with the extra grip and the tyres late in the race. It's a tough one to do, mate. But look, congratulations on a great result coming back. Great to see you back out on track, representing Team Torpedo. From
Yep.
what I had, mate, but not the Orange and Blue Army, but Team Torpedo. Congratulations once again, mate. Anyone like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Also, I want to thank my my teammates at Team Torpedo. They've been great support in trash talking me all season long that I'm bad, but I've proven myself that I'm still capable to win.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations, mate, and hopefully we might see you in the future coming weeks of the season, mate.
Bye, Tim. Bye, Alex.
There you go, Mr. Gorkrocher. That was Team Torpedo's own Tim Hendrickson, who came and saw and conquered them all tonight.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he flogged him, but he did do pretty well. He was certainly in control, and I'd like to know who these Team Torpedo guys are who are stirring him up, because I guess I want to encourage him. It'd be good to see Tim out here a bit more often. It's, what are we, 7-8 rounds into the season, and this is his first appearance. I mean, for a guy he'll tell you how good he is till the cows come home. It's probably not good enough that he's not regularly involved in the highest softs each week. So it'd be good to see him out here more often, and just so we can keep up appearances and keep telling us how good he is.
Absolutely. All right. We've got a couple still in the booth, or the green room, I should say, to come. And it is, actually, we'll go in finishing order, and we've just had a late arrival in Mr. Vascalampi.
Does this guy speak English, Alex?
Oh, he does. And just be prepared for the great radio voice that he's got too. So let's see what he's got to say, Mr. Vascalampi, for his maiden voyage or venture into the top split commentary booth. Oh, hang on, Timu. Let me know if you can hear us, mate. I'll drop you back down into the booth, the broadcast green room.
Okay, sorry,
Can
I
you
can't
hear us,
hear you. This is the problem with my system. Happened before. I don't know how to fix it. Sorry. Take someone else.
All right. Well, we'll. Oh, hang on. I'm in the wrong room now. There we go. Next up, we'll leave Timu to his unfortunate issues there. Next up in the finishing order was Mr. Grebstad. Mr. Håkon Grebstad, mate.
Hello.
It's not quite the lofty heights that we've seen you earlier in this season, but certainly top 5 result and a great battle throughout. Nothing to sneeze at, mate.
Yeah, not a win for sure, but what an eventful lap 1 and 2. That was just crazy.
Yeah, mate. The cold tyres and the raciness of the opening laps certainly paved the way for wasn't just in running order throughout, but a more sedate race than we have had in the past few weeks. But you look like you had a bit of fun with Sasha there.
Well, yeah, I was trying to work with Sasha, but both me and him were making mistakes that we shouldn't have been. I think Sasha had the draft of the front group at one point, but we managed to lose it. Never saw it again, sadly.
Yeah, he got close there for a little while, mate, but then it opened up, and as you say, it never quite came back to you both. But at least, the Skippies put on some fun racing. Looks like you both had that, which is something to go away with, along with a bag full of points and I rating as well, it has to be said. So congratulations on the top 5, mate. Good to see you safely home from your midweek journey. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Oh, thank you, Alex. Well, you guys and everyone that showed up. Even Tim showed up today, showing his dominance.
Yeah, mate, that's one for the books, and he's left his name in the books for the season as well. So, yeah, good one. All right, mate. Well, we'll have a chat to you in the coming weeks, and all the best for the future races.
Sure thing. Thanks, Alex.
There you go, Tim, Mr. Grebstad, who had a duck over the oceans of the world, ended up in Ireland during the week, but did manage to make it back for tonight's event, and did himself no disservice in a top 5 finish.
No, and good on him to plan his holiday around the Sunday night lights event. That's fantastic. Shows his dedication to the series. And no, he did well. He did well. But I completely understand his frustration at not quite being able to make ends meet on track with Sasha. Sasha, of course, in the past few weeks has been not unstoppable. He's been extremely quick and racked up a number of wins. So a little bit surprising to see Sasha not quite up there tonight. But good on them, Alex, and I hope we see them both on track next week.
Yeah, I look forward to getting them back once again for what is the biggest night of racing each week. As we bring up our final interview guest here tonight. We're still on track in this replay too. Mr. Ben Snell representing Team Milo. Not the race you were looking for there, Ben. What happened there?
Timu's interview went about as well as my race, pretty much.
That's right. Then I'm clicking in and out of the wrong channels and what have you. Oh, it's pro streaming right here. But look, it looked like it was pretty eventful there at the start, mate. You took out the race coming into this one, and then just missed the quali, which has unfortunately been something's happened to you more than once this season.
Yeah, it's the complete opposite of last week where I had 2 rubbish warm-up races and then did well in SNL. I had won the 2 before this. Unfortunately, I binned it into Degna 2 on my first flying lap, so I didn't get a time in. And
Yeah,
trying to follow Grebo through the crowd, I just got squeezed by one of the friendly guys in the back half of the field, and unfortunately got some damage. And basically, how my night went.
yeah, that's unlucky, mate, because the quali seems so important this season for those reasons. The moves that we normally used to being able to do in the early stages of the race, just not as well. The odds really aren't in your favour these days. We just catch another glimpse of you losing it through Spoon, unfortunately. But and then looks like you hit the eject button at that point, mate. But look, sorry to see the race go the way it did. Hopefully, we can see you back bigger and better next week and up the right end of the field, mate.
Oh, I'll be back, and it'll be debatable where I end up, though.
All right, mate. Anyone you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
Of course, you guys for putting on the broadcast, and Russell says hi, and go Team Milo.
Go Team Milo, indeed. Thanks, Ben, mate. We'll talk to you soon. There you go, Mr. Gorkrotcher. That was Team Milo's own Ben Snell, who's been a bit up and down this season in terms of his results. The pace is there. Hopefully the results will come.
No doubt they will, and a little bit disappointing for Ben after he pretty comfortably got the win in the race prior to SNL. So, yeah, not that a result we wanted, but we know Ben's committed to the series, and he'll be back next week to make amends for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I might call it a day. I'm not sure if Timu's got his his stuff sorted, so to speak. But we might leave it at that for the interviews for now. Folks, that will about do us overall for Sunday Night Lights this week. It's been a good race here at Suzuka. The track's been very, very challenging, of course, but the guys put on a great show as usual. Now, in the days to come, you can check out the action of all things Top Split. Of course, this broadcast will be uploaded to YouTube in the full resolution there. Just search for the Top Split on YouTube if you're not already subscribed. Join us in the Discord community where, of course, we do the broadcast and all the post-race interviews. Check out thetopsplit.com where you will find the Top Split podcast, and join us online at Facebook as well at the Top Split. You can find my racing action at Top Split TV, of course, right here during the week. AJ77 for the somewhat absent Alex J. John, the doctor, who is having PC's problems, as is the chaotic one. Corey has no life, but when they're back on track, that's where you will find them. But for now, we have had a great race here for round 8. Round 9 comes from the free track at Charlotte Roval. So looking forward to that one next week. Thank you everyone for joining us here tonight. I've been your host, Alex McKellar, and on behalf of Tim Gorkrotcher, until next time, we will say ciao for now.